solid. So we got Sherwood Ramen in the place. Appreciate you coming through. So off camera, we were talking about, well, I was telling you how I admired your resourcefulness and your creativity working on a low budget, but allowing your resourcefulness to make up for what you can't afford at the highest level of technology or what's not. So I just like you to speak on the importance of that, of not allowing yourself to be held back or restrained by, say, a lack of resources or funds or whatever, but using your creativity to break through, you know, regardless of it.
Well, about that, my general philosophy is always to do as much as you can with what you have. Like, it's always going to be things that you won't get, no matter what level you are. You get a $20,000 camera right now, next year you want a $100,000 camera. But at the level that you are, you can always do great things. And if you could do more with less, imagine what you could do with more. So for me, from recording to videos, there are people who would probably say MySpace ain't a real studio. But I could crank out better things in MySpace than people who take the time to go to a $100,000 studio.
Wow.
Because it ain't about the space you in, it's about who's in the space. So with my computer, with a laptop, a MIDI keyboard this big, one guitar, I could probably crank out a project way better than the average person.
So what caused you to develop that kind of mindset?
I'd say looking up to people like Ryan Leslie, and just generally looking on the internet and finding, it's like, is this particular channel on YouTube, The Recording Revolution. His whole philosophy is like, you know, you don't need all the fancy gear to mix good. If you can't mix on this, you just can't mix. So that's my whole thing. Looking up to people like that who just doing what they have is inspired me to say, man, I don't need all the glitz and glam to make it happen.
Wow, and I see you produce a whole project.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's obvious that you're taking your own advice, you know what I mean? And off camera, we were talking about your brother shooting your videos. So tell me, how much has that helped the process, having someone right there who, you know, has your best interest at heart and will put the maximum effort to make sure that you succeed, because, you know, you're blood. So if you succeed, he succeeds. So tell me about that.
The relationship between me and my brother is a very helpful relationship in that we both in this creative thing together. So we like a lot of different things about just being able to create, from music to videos to putting on shows, things of that nature. So having someone like him where I could literally walk in his room and say, this is what I want for this video, these are the shots we need to get. And then we bounce back and forth. He'll always come to me about ideas he has for his things and what's not. We could always talk about what makes sense, what don't make sense, why we should do this and that. So a relationship like that is invaluable, like it's priceless. You can't put a price on it. And I know that's not necessarily easy for people to have, because not everybody have a brother that's into them stuff.
Exactly.
You have to go and find, I guess, a professional outside of your direct circle to do the things for you. But even there would be nice if you could establish an enthusiastic relationship to make a good product at the end of the day.
Very true. Right? So the name of your project is what?
Sherry.
So I was listening to some of the songs, I watched all the videos that you put out, and the question that I have for you is, you have girl problems?
Not no more. Not no more. Sherry is like a combination of all my relationship experiences from, say, like high school to now. And in the beginning, like, it starts off with the poetry, the spoken word to this girl, and then afterwards she laugh it off. Cause I mean, legit, in high school, that's how it used to be. Like, I used to take the time to literally write thesis statements and things for girls, just to have them say, no, that's nice, or whatever, or to laugh, or some really like it. And it's just like, I used to put a lot into relationships, so I try my best. But when you trying so hard, it's always feel like it ain't working out. Right. And I realize it's the effortlessness of things is where it's at. When you ain't trying so hard, when things is naturally flowing, that's when you know things good. So it's like from going from trying dead hard to get girls to just being you and realizing that God's right there and it can happen.
Alright, that sounds good. So But I like you speaking of wisdom as far as, letting things flow, letting it be natural. What I know is when to gain wisdom, you normally have to go through a struggle. You know what I mean? It's normally pain involved with becoming wise in any aspect. So tell me about that transition when you realized that, hey, how were you thinking prior, and what changed since you realized that, hey, it's more effortless to let it flow?
In relationship or just in life?
Just in life.
So when I came out of high school, I had no idea that I'd be getting into music this deep, to be honest. I came out of high school and just out of frustration from, dealing with parental stuff like, your daddy being hard on you, telling you go get a job, and you're trying to do school, trying to find yourself, trying to do college and things like that. School ain't necessarily the easiest thing because you ain't want to do everything it's about. I stumbled across a good deal of things like, what's the movie called? The Secret.
Right.
Which is a book and a movie. Phenomenal book about the law of attraction. So just things like that started to spark my interest here and there. I think I first heard about The Secret from Hit Boy, producer, right, on an interview with Hard Knock TV. So he was saying how he knew somebody, a friend or something, went from living on the couch to making millions of dollars like within a year because they was following stuff that they found in The Secret. So The Secret is just about attracting, being what you want to attract, and realizing that it's effortless. So like from there, doing my little studies from The Secret to The Alchemist, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, these books I love and recommend to anybody. Conversations with God, things like that. Like that got me on this effortless tip. Like life ain't supposed to be hard.
So these things that you read in these books, you apply these things, and have you found them to literally be working for you?
100%.
All right.
And even in the opposite direction, like, cause the way the law of attraction works is whatever you predominantly thinking, it tends to show up in your life. So even when there's negative things that you don't want, you see exactly that. So when I sit and reflect and I see the things that how my life line up, specifically when I wanted to get into production.
Right.
I had a garbage computer, lived, 4 gig around Windows machine.
Too slow.
Too slow. We know it too slow.
Right.
But I was looking for production software. Didn't like how FL Studio was working on demo, so I was like, forget that. Found Sony Asset Express, that's garbage. But I was trying to get into it. So I needed a MIDI cord to use the keyboard that we have with the computer. So I go onto the shop, going in Maranatha clothes. Now, but that was like a good bunch of years ago.
Yeah.
Going in Maranatha asking for a cord, they don't have the cord. But the brethren in there say, oh, you make music? I say, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's like, I got a software, I can tell you if you want.
Wow.
I needed the software because like Sony Asset Express had 10 tracks.
Wow.
10 tracks, only 10 tracks you could use. And he sold me Reason, a copy of Reason. So from then I've been using Reason. I don't use nothing else.
That's industry standard, so I can imagine.
So it's like, just to say, that's one example. Another one to write quick is my last semester in COB, which was spring 2015. Beginning of the semester, I said, but I want to get into live audio, live sound, live mixing. Like mid-semester, I walk in the Performing Arts Center because they had a play or something, and I look up for the first time from down low, and I see the sound booth where the people just be operating and things. So I just go on up there and I say, hey, I could just sit me and watch. Like, yeah, cool. 5 minutes after that, your boy say, I can make you an intern if you want.
Wow. Wow.
So I mean, whatever you want to call it, you could call it God working, you could call it universe, whatever.
You call it effortlessness.
Either way, it's supposed to be effortless.
Right. I like that. And I like how you use the examples too, you know what I mean? You might make a couple of people believers, you know what I mean? All right, so I was checking out your social media, right? And I noticed that you, outside of music, you have a lot of thought-provoking ideas, right? And one particular post I saw this, it's nothing bad. So it said, we love to talk about getting degrees in the Bahamas, but do we really promote intelligence, progressive technology, and innovation?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
I'd like you to elaborate on it a little bit.
The average Bahamian, in my opinion, believes the path to success is you go to school, you get a good education, whatever that means. I mean, it usually is in your basic professions, doctor, lawyer, and even go beyond force, things like that. So you get your education, you get a job, and you call it a wrap. Like, your life should be pretty fine from there. But the way the world is moving, we'll be left behind doing that. Technological advancement is super important, and we don't pay enough attention to it because I guess we have a fear for it, or we just have a lack of interest in it. But simple things like you look at how the stock value of bitcoins is skyrocketing,
Right.
and most Bahamians might not know about that, or who's making what new app, what new technologies are being created to do surgery and this and that. We need people to be doing that if we want to exist in the world of tomorrow.
Wow.
How Tesla saying that he could help rebuild Puerto Rico whole solar grid just to show the scalability of it while we weren't moved BEC generators.
Wow. So let me ask you, if you had, let's say, if the Prime Minister was to see this today or tomorrow, and you had his ear, and he was willing to take some advice from you, what would be your advice to him in regards to this statement?
My advice to the Prime Minister would be to invest as much effort in sustainability, like in the dependence on yourself as opposed to outside dependence as possible. And that entails dealing with your basic necessities first, your energy, your food, and your shelter. So we have to be able to make our own energy so we don't have to buy it.
Right.
We have to be able to make our own food so we don't have to buy it.
Right.
We have to be able to shelter ourselves. And once you have that, people live. You can live a life.
Right.
You need nothing else. Everything else is leisure from there.
Yeah, just use the creativity after that.
After that, you just love life and do whatever you want to do. So we need more people to, I'm sure there are interested people to go and be the brainiac engineers that they want to be
Right.
in the top colleges in the world and come back and change our nation. That's what we really need. So investing in education on a next level, not just, not to say primary school, high school ain't important. Those are very important because that's where it starts.
Right.
But on the next level is pay for X amount of students to go do masters in engineering and marine sciences and things like that. Because things like our coral reefs, all these things super important. So when a hurricane comes, they don't beat us up so bad. All these things. But like I say, energy, food, and shelter is your three main things that we need to get a hold on to make our own. And then from there, everything is like luxury.
Alright. I didn't mean to put you so far in the music realm, you know what I mean? Alright, so another thing I noticed was that you definitely adopted that digital wave, you know what I mean? You're millennial, so you in tune with the technology, you in tune with the internet, you see the value of it. So, and I also looked at you were number 4 or 5 on iTunes for a while.
Right.
So I want to know, how did you get there? How did you feel about it when you saw that?
I'll say how I feel about it first. How I felt about it was like, I don't understand it. I was a bit confused because I didn't understand what it means. Like, obviously ranking means something, but
Right.
like how does it rank? So it was for the region. So I guess Caribbean, not like United States, because that's a big difference. So I was number 4, I think, in like the first 3 days of Sherry being out in the region for R&B album or whatever. How did I get there? I guess a few people paid attention to the album and they got it there. I don't know how many people I took. iTunes don't give you the metrics.
Right, but you monetized it though?
Yeah. What do you mean, like if I sold Sherry?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, would you have an idea based on the number of sales that you got, how many people actually purchase it?
To be honest, I don't know how many sales to this day. Like, so I know I got a couple dollars from it. Like, maybe $60-something or something like that.
That's excellent
That's
because
funny.
that's a lot because you could ask most artists that you come across how much money they've made off selling the project.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that, you know what I mean? And it's still on the market, so
It'll grow.
exactly.
And as I grow, people may come back and see it, buy some more.
Exactly. So based on the success of Sherry, did you gain any international fans, international exposure?
When you say that, do you mean does anybody internationally know a bit more about me than they did before?
That could work. Yeah, just exposure, just, you know, someone who didn't know you prior now knows you.
Yeah, I've seen a few different, I guess, sets of activity outside the country. Most specifically, I've been looking into Spotify playlists and stuff lately, like doing my research on how to get to different playlists on Spotify because they help boost your, I guess, your traction, your visibility as an artist. And that's why I distribute my music for the most part, just so it's available on most platforms.
Okay.
That way, people who listen to music differently can hear it on the platform that they like.
Okay. So you don't, sorry, but so you don't monetize, you're not really worried about monetizing on every platform, or what is it? Do you still give your music away for free?
I don't have a problem with giving away my music for free. So somebody may say, hey, how can I find your album? I'll say, give me an email, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Like, you don't always have to, it don't matter to me if you buy it.
Okay.
It's that you want it.
Okay.
But,
Wow.
I mean, and that's for now. Generally, you want people to compensate you. That would be nice.
Of course.
But I distribute my music so that, like I say, not everybody likes to listen to music on SoundCloud. As a matter of fact, I don't even listen to music on SoundCloud. So I don't know why I should expect a whole lot of people to want to listen to me on SoundCloud. I don't use SoundCloud to listen to music. People listen to music on YouTube a lot. Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music and what's not. And that's why I distribute. So when it's there, if you know about me, you can search me there and you'll find it.
Okay.
But with regards to international visibility, I talked to this girl for a brief second who makes a playlist on Spotify. Anybody can do it, that's not a big deal.
Okay.
But her playlist seems to be relatively popular, and things like that help you to see your artistry grow, your fan base grow. So, I guess a little bit of international traction.
So, naturally it would progress, you know what I mean? The more work you put in, it would gain some traction. But what I'd like to know is what's your ultimate goal with putting your music out there, becoming maybe world renowned at some point? What would be the ultimate goal of that? What would be your ultimate message behind that?
I feel like my goal and my message may be a different thing. So I guess I'll try to touch on both.
Okay.
My goal is just always to create. I just like to create. I don't know how to not. And I feel like I said, I never knew that I'd be here, but now that I'm here, I don't know what else to do except just make music, make stuff.
Right.
So the goal is a goal that it can't be reached. Like, you can't never stop or make enough to the point where you be like, I don't want to make no more. That's it. I finished with life. I always want to create. But my message is always something, I think, hidden in all my music is the message of being able to create your own reality. So that kind of stuff. And even in Sherry, though it's a romantic type album or whatever, like it's about girls, at the end of the day it's about really unconditional love and, starting with self. So all that kind of, unconditional love and being able to create your own life, your own happiness is what I want my message to continuously be.